Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Boingvert. Boingvert is the best-selling jumping program for athletes in the world with over 500,000 users. On average, users have gained 10.3 inches on their jump, there's no weights necessary, and the program can be done right at home with 24/7 customer service. If you're interested, the link to the program will be both in the comment section and in the description, and be sure to use my promo code DOM2K for 20% off of your purchase. Alright, we're back less than 24 hours later. Here are my Eastern Conference predictions. I did the West first because I think it's a little bit more interesting, whereas in the East we have a little bit of a price to pay before we actually get to the interesting parts. As we all know, the East is probably in its most competitive state since like forever ago, probably since most of you have been watching basketball. There's no clear-cut super team here anymore. And there's just also some really good teams, even if it's just on paper like the Celtics. So all year we've been, or at least me, I've been waiting for this playoffs because I'm like, man, this is gonna be a bloodbath once you get to that second round. But the first round, not so much. You have the 4 best teams in the East playing off the 4 just really average teams in the East. And while I'm going to watch every single playoff game because I'm a junkie, I don't think this is gonna be that fun. So the first round kicks off with the Bucks and the Pistons, and Bucks in 4. The Pistons have been kind of off and on this year. They've had stretches where they've looked really good. Then they've had stretches where you really question if they were going to be in the playoffs. As a matter of fact, weren't they like the last team to secure a playoff spot? I'm happy that they're there though. I did want to see Blake Griffin because he's having probably the best season of his career. But you're going to run into a Bucks team that, although they don't really have all their pieces, they are still superior. This is just your classic 1-8 matchup, and I would be very surprised if the Pistons even got a game. Next on the list is the Celtics and Pacers, and y'all disrespectful as hell out here. I know we've been struggling. We didn't even win 50 games this year. All these cryptic messages in the media, beating a contending team one day, then losing to a lottery team the next. I get it, but we're still gonna beat the Pacers. People all in my mentions talking about, oh, y'all are about to beat the Pacers. It's gonna take y'all this. Look, I have respect for what the Pacers did because I won't even lie. I expected them to fall after Oladipo injury. I said they were gonna fall to 5th, but I did expect it to be way quicker. I didn't think we were gonna be in a fight up until like the last week. So they definitely kept that same energy once he went down, and that's very respectable. But in the playoffs, come on now. I'm actually happy Boston got 4th because I did want that to be the path for our best chance to get to the finals. I wanted to see Indiana, instead of a team that actually has like a star on the floor right now, I definitely wanted to see a team that's just a good team, but they don't have that playoff guy. And then I wanted to play the Bucks next because I know they've been trying to piece it back together. Don't know when they're going to get Brogdon back. Mirotic was out for a while. I don't even know if Gasol is getting playoff minutes now. So I got what I wanted here, and Boston in 5. I announced it on Twitter. If they lose to the Indiana Pacers, I'm going to be forced to make the 59 players drafted before Isaiah Thomas because people have been trying to peer pressure me into making that video. So if we lose that series, y'all get that video. Otherwise, it's just going to remain a meme. But yeah, in a playoff series, the Celtics can at least handle this. We got a good win off of them just like last week. That was perfect timing considering they were both fighting for the same spot. We got the home court, which is good because Boston is just for some reason a lot better at home than they are on the road. That's where things are going to get bleak though when we talk about the second round. I will be heavily disappointed because it's like a joke right now saying that the Celtics are going to take 7 games to beat Indiana and it's going to be this really tough series. I'm not going to lie. I would be disappointed in the Celtics. I would be so disappointed if we get this team that does not have their star, and they're good, but we're in playoff basketball now. If we can't handle them the way that you would imagine, I'm going to be disappointed. If it takes 7... I'm going to be watching the Bucks series with a bag over my head. That brings us to the Sixers and Nets, and I'm going to say sweep. Of course, the season series would not indicate that. They split it 2-2, but I will bring to your attention that they only played them one time with the full roster of Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris being there. A couple of those matches did not even have Jimmy Butler on the roster. And then I think they've only played them one time when they had like all 4 guys. So the Nets are a good up-and-coming team. I think most of the positivity around them this year has been about the fact that they are ahead of schedule for a team that tricked off their future for an old Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. So now you got D'Angelo Russell with his comeback story after not being called a leader. You got some good pieces like Jared Allen, and we're possibly looking at them in free agency this summer. But as far as like a team that's going to go far in the playoffs or really make any noise, it's just one of those situations. Like I said, the top 4 of the East are really strong, or the top 3, and then you have the Celtics. And then the bottom 4 are just kind of like, you know, they're there. They're appetizers. So yeah, I'd be surprised if this took any more than 4 games. And apparently that's where me and Damon Jones disagree, because you come down here to the Raptors and Magic, and Damon Jones said this morning, or whenever I saw the clip this morning, that the Magic are going to win the series against the Raptors. Boy, wouldn't that be something? What if the number 7 Orlando Magic, who have not made the playoffs since Dwight Howard, what if their opening act for their first playoff since 2012 would be to beat Kawhi Leonard's Raptors? Wouldn't that be some shit? Unfortunately, I think Damon Jones was just trying to get some retweets, which he got off me because I thought it was pretty funny. And I don't see the Magic winning like any more than 5 games here. This is probably another sweep. Again, great story this year. When I watched them at the beginning, I'm always watching for them to like fade away, because the first week of the season Orlando Magic are like a top team in NBA history. And don't get me wrong, they got good pieces. Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, who hopefully they re-sign this summer. But they are playing a superior team. And I can't even begin to fathom where the idea of an upset here came from. I could see if you were going to say the Celtics were going to get upset just because of the type of season they had, but the Raptors had a good season and Kawhi Leonard was like resting a lot, so their record does probably not even reflect what they actually are. So yeah, no reason to waste a whole lot of time here. That brings us to the second round, and this is where things get fun. Milwaukee and Boston, that's a rematch of the first round last year. Boy, how the tables have seemed to turn. And then that would give us the Sixers and Raptors. Now this is the fun part. So in the Milwaukee and Boston series, I am going to go Bucks in 6. And you know what? I wanted Milwaukee. I did. I wanted to play them because I know they were struggling with injuries towards the end. Giannis has seemed to have some problem with his ankle. So I was saying I would rather play them than Toronto, because I know to get to the NBA Finals, you're going to have to go through probably one of those two, more than likely. But then, in like the second to last game of the season, Marcus Smart sustains an injury that will keep him out probably of this round as well. If he does return, it won't be until like the middle of this round or something, if he returns at all. So the Celtics have shown ability to play with all the top dogs in the NBA. They've beaten the Warriors. They've had close games with all these teams or beaten them. But now we're missing one of the dogs of the team, one of the best defenders on the team, and we don't have home court advantage in this series, and they have not shown that they can beat these contenders very often on the road. That is why, although I've been saying all year, the Celtics on paper, because of that roster, nobody would be surprised if they wound up in the NBA Finals. Realistically, all the problems they've had this year, they didn't win 50 games, trying to figure out chemistry, trying to work Gordon Hayward back, and now the Marcus Smart injury. One of our best defenders is going to be out of that series. I can't come up with any way that Boston would win that series other than me just being biased and me being hopeful. Unless we get 2016 Finals Kyrie, this is going to be tough. Now, with that being said, the Celtics to me are like the Spurs in the West. How I said yesterday that you would not be surprised to see the Spurs go far because of the path. It is realistic for them. Same thing with the Celtics. We expected this team to come in and win 55 plus 60 games this year. They have the team there, and now whatever happened this season, it's behind us. They have the roster here. You just got to win each playoff game in front of you, so nobody will be surprised if they were making a finals run. But even that notion, even that's hard to justify after losing Marcus Smart. He's not the star of the team, but you're going against the Bucks, you're going against the Raptors. You need all hands on deck. For a team that's been struggling the way they have, you really need all hands on deck. So that's a tough one to sell me on. I hope it happens. I really hope they upset Milwaukee because I want to talk shit to a lot of people, but I'm not going to be biased. I don't see it right now. Hopefully I'm wrong though. And then on the count of the Raptors and Sixers, I'm going to go Raptors in 7. That's going to be a really good series. That's going to be a really, really good series. We did not even get the opportunity to see these two teams play, with the Sixers having Tobias Harris on the floor with the rest of the starters, and I am highly anticipating that. But I do think the Raptors are the better team. They've got a better bench, and I'm still very interested to see how this whole playoff thing works with Ben Simmons, because I know they can be a good regular season team, but when I see squads guarding him in the paint, See, it's one thing when teams do that to Giannis, and even I kind of wondered how that's going to work with Giannis as well, but the thing with him is that he just walks through people like a 2K glitch to dunk it. And also the thing with Giannis is that he actually shoots the three sometimes too, and through the second half of the season, it seems like he was making them at a pretty decent rate for him, for somebody who they're leaving wide open. So Giannis will actually shoot it. We know Ben Simmons is not even going to look for that shot. He refuses. So teams will play him in the paint. I don't see why that's going to stop in the playoffs. And yeah, with the game being slower, I'm really wondering, like in a series against the Raptors, if you have a point guard that does not even need to be guarded at the free throw line, I think something like that can be the difference. Even though the Sixers have all this talent, that's a very strong weakness. I kind of feel like by not even having three-point attempts hoisted up there, I really think that's going to be a hindrance to Philly winning a championship for a good while until he has something decent that people have to respect. So we will watch how that shakes out, but I got the Raptors in that series. That would set us up with the Raptors and Bucks, Kawhi Leonard and Giannis. Oh, that is going to be so much fun. But Raptors in 7. I got the Raptors going to the NBA Finals this year. This is where little things start to make a difference. So I'm wondering, once we get to that series, is somebody like Brogdon going to be back? And if he is back, what kind of condition is he going to be in? Because you are going to be essentially asking him to hop into the middle of intense playoff basketball. So even if you do have him back, is he going to be integrated and effective? Something that small can make the difference here. That being said, I will tell you that this is one of my flip a coin series. Toronto did get them 3 out of the 4 matchups this year. Of course, one of those times Kawhi Leonard did not play, but it's still flip a coin because Giannis is my MVP this year. He's been historically good this season. The Bucks have been historically good for an Eastern Conference team. But like I said, I think the Raptors are better than their record shows. So if we get there and the Bucks win it, no surprise here at all. Some of these series I would be surprised if it turned out a different way than I said, but here that would just be like, well, I mean, they did win 60 games. Brook Lopez is out there pulling like Steph Curry, so that's why I love the second round of the Eastern Conference, because really a lot of this could go either way. The Sixers could end up beating the Raptors. They played really well against the Bucks this year. They had some really good matchups, so clearly they're not one of those teams that just don't stand a chance against the people in front of them. They're right in the mix there. If Boston just hit that God mode we've been waiting for all year, which I'm not even expecting at this point, but if they did, people would just say that's what they were saying and they were waiting for all year. Yeah, a lot of these could go either way, and I hope they do because I want to see it get mixed up. Imagine Boston and Philly in the conference finals. Now, that would probably be a surprise if both of those happen. Boston over the Bucks and Philly over Toronto. That probably surprised people a bit. But anyways, that means I foresee a Raptors-Warriors finals. And in a Raptors-Warriors finals, Kawhi Leonard, the man who everyone was swearing was about to beat the Warriors by himself because he had 2 good quarters against them in game 1. Yeah, no, still Warriors in like 5 games. I've never not picked the Warriors to win the finals in the last, 2 years? 3 actually. I'm not going to start now. The Warriors were giving the Raptors all they could handle with just KD and Thompson in one of these games. Now, of course, I know the rebuttal to that would be the Raptors came and beat the Warriors without Kawhi Leonard. Was that it? I think they did it without Kawhi. But we all know once you get in a series, this is a totally different thing. It's more aligned with what you would expect. And while the Raptors are a good team, nobody in this entire playoff bracket stands a chance against the Raptors in the series. Unless the Celtics somehow made it there and Kyrie really is Steph Curry's kryptonite. You know, some fairy tale stuff like that. Other than that, the Warriors would have to have an epic collapse to lose. They have a better roster than they did before. It would just take a collapse of epic proportions. It gets hard to imagine sometimes because we watch the Raptors and the Bucks, teams like that, we isolate them and we're like, these are such good teams. But reality will hit. When you get to the finals and Steph Curry's throwing shit up from like half court like he did against Kevin Love last year, when they get hot, reality will hit real quick and you'll remember why you always say there's no parity in the NBA. Now, with that being said, hopefully this is the last time we have to feel this way. Kevin Durant will be a free agent, plenty of people will be free agents, and the whole landscape of the NBA could change this summer. I'm almost more excited for free agency than I am to get to this NBA Finals. Like, 2019 free agency could really set the 2020s up to be really, really cool, or at least the beginning of it. Because, let's be real, as long as we don't have something like the Warriors again, we'll go through a whole season wondering how a team is gonna perform in the playoffs and who's gonna do what, who's gonna make what moves, who's gonna be in the finals. We really have not felt that way since around 2015, 2016. So I am looking forward to that. But for now, I think we are gonna have to take one more lump on the head. And the Warriors, when it's all said and done, will have won their 4th championship since 2015. So let me know if you think something different, hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.